Well, all my plant friends, good morning. I was just sitting here trying to muster up the strength to do a video for you today, and I happened to think, as I was looking out the window, how beautiful this is. It's our first snowfall of the year. I hope my camera can really capture what I see in person. The snowflakes are beautiful and they're very big. It's not supposed to last long. It's supposed to turn into rain. But that's okay too. For the people that have to drive today, I hope it does turn into rain. But I just had to capture that for you. And that was the backyard. This is the front. Beautiful snow-covered ground. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. Alright, and I'm back. Today my video is going to be about my Kangaroo Paw Fern. This fern, it was actually about the same size when I first purchased it, and unfortunately I almost lost it about a year ago. I think it was probably about this time last year. And let me just zoom out here. Isn't she gorgeous? Those of you that have been following me will probably remember my great excitement when this plant I thought was dead, and I saw a little tiny piece of green coming up through the soil, and I was ecstatic because that told me there's still life left, and where there's life, there's hope, right? So I just slowed down on the watering. I gave her a little bit here and there, and just continued to keep an eye on her, and she just went crazy the last couple months. She's very healthy. She's got a lot of new growth, and her leaves are just, let's see if I can get a hold of that. Look at how big they are. I mean, they're huge. And very healthy. They almost feel like plastic. Now, the care for this plant is pretty simple, but tricky at the same time because, well, first of all, I switched to complete distilled water with her. I no longer use tap water on her at all, and I think that might have been part of the problem. Excuse me a moment. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, so I use distilled water on her only, and that has helped a lot in her health. And this is a epiphytic plant. It does grow up, it grows like in the crux of the tree branches or in between rocks, and it's native to Australia and I think New Zealand. I think I read that somewhere. I know that it likes the soil to be on the acidic side, and some places that I researched, it said it likes really high humidity. Well, I don't have really high humidity, and I've heard that about a lot of my plants. So I'm not sure. I wish that whenever someone states that a plant needs high humidity, I would like them to give me a number and tell me what they consider to be high humidity. I heard that same thing with my calatheas, and it's just, I don't know, unless they mean that, 50 or 55% is high, then yeah, I guess that would be correct. But other than that, I don't know what to say about that. This is hanging in my dining room, which is rather cool, and it gets partial sun, and this plant likes partial sun, partial shade, and it will grow in shade. And as you can see, there's a very wide board behind this plant, trim board, so it's not getting full, the sun isn't beating down on it per se all day long. But when it comes in that window or that window, it's very bright because this is a south window. Now, keeping in mind there is a tree outside this house, outside this room, and it does give a dappled shade during the summer. Not a lot because the leaves on it are very tiny. It's actually a tree that's dying, and we don't know what's wrong with it. We had a tree guy out here and he doesn't know either, so I'm not sure what to do about that. But anyways, she is, let me see, what else can I tell you about her? She does not like drastic temperature changes. So, I mean, she can tolerate if you turn your heat down at night a little bit, she can tolerate that, but not a whole lot. She doesn't, if you are the type of person when you go to work, you turn your heat down to 60 degrees and you crank it up to 75 when you get home, that is not something she's going to like. So, and that's, that, and along with, she doesn't like drafts. So, just keeping her out of drafts, keeping the temperature fairly stable. She's okay with temperatures at even 50 degrees, but then they have to stay around that temperature. She doesn't like temperature change. So, as far as propagating her, she's a rhizomatic plant, and you have to divide by rhizomes. You can't, I don't believe you can water propagate this. I've never tried, but I don't believe that is a possibility. I could be wrong, and if I am, please don't feel free to correct me, because I do not want to give wrong advice. Other than that, she's a pretty carefree plant. I feed her about maybe once a month. Every other time I use worm castings, and then I use my synthetic, what used to be called Peters. It's now, I believe, called Jack's. I think it's the son who took it over. And I've been using Peters for many, 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 many years, and it's always done right by me. I switched to an organic fish emulsion fertilizer, and my plants did not like that. And I don't know if it was because they weren't used to it. When I used it, especially the first time, I had it 1/4 of the strength that it calls for. And I got all kinds of issues. I had brown spots on my leaves. I had wilting. It didn't work for me. So I'm using that now in my outdoor flowering plants, and I went back to my Peters or my Jacks. When my Peters runs out, I'll have to get Jacks. And I know they sell that on the internet. I'm pretty sure they got it on Amazon. So that's what I use. And then my worm castings. You can use any kind of worm castings. But I use that every other month, about. Again, I don't have a strict schedule for feeding. I like to say I feed them when I think of it, but it comes out to about once a month, maybe a little more often, but it depends on the type of year. It depends on the plant. If the plant is growing, I feed it. For most of my adult life and plant growing life, I always fed my plants every time I watered them. I put a tiny little bit in each time. But I do have a few plants that do not like that, so it's not that it's killing them, but I can see that it's acting up, so I don't really recommend that, I guess. I don't think it will hurt. I don't think it'll kill any of your plants. I mean, I don't know. I've done both, you know, where I have gone through streaks where I put a tiny bit of fertilizer in a gallon jug of water. And that works too. So, I guess whatever works for you. Just keep an eye on your plants. Like I always say, if you know anybody, if you have kids or you know anybody that does, and you're around that child a lot, you can tell when there's something wrong. I mean, you can tell by looking at them that they're maybe coming down with something, and plants are no different. If you are paying attention to them every day, or at least every other day, you're going to get to know when there's something going on. And then that's the time to address it. Don't wait until it becomes a catastrophe and then try to bring it back to life, because oftentimes that doesn't work. Okay, so that's all I'm going to say on my Kangaroo Paw Fern. She's so pretty. I'm so in love with this plant. I love her leaves. I just love the kind of crazy way that she grows. And she's doing great. And then, while I'm here, I'm going to do a quick update on my Ciccus Rhombifolia. Those of you that have been following along on that, you'll remember that it was almost dead. I had cut it all the way back. Well, not all the way, but I cut it up to above the pot, and I sprayed it, and I did everything I could think of to fix whatever was wrong, and I still to this day don't know what was wrong. I didn't see any type of bugs or, you know, no insects or no diseases that I was aware of, so I just didn't know. But it's right in the midst of a lot of my other very, very precious plants, so I got kind of nervous, and this summer I put it out on the porch, and let me see if I can turn this light off. It might be better. No. Is that better? I think so. I put this plant out on the porch, and it just stayed the same horrible stagnant way that it was. At the end of summer, my husband said, "Are you going to bring this in the house?" I'm trying to turn it with my left arm. That doesn't work. Sorry. Hold on. Let me back up here. Look at the growth. Anyway, at the end of summer, I said, you know what, I think I'm just going to toss her. I don't want to bring her back in the house because she hasn't done anything, and I don't know what's wrong with her, and I don't want whatever's wrong with her to get onto my other plants. Well, lo and behold, he says to me, he comes out with a can of Raid ant and roach killer. No, we don't have roaches. He uses it to kill spiders, actually, because we have so many. But anyways, he soaked this plant down with that spray. I said, that's going to kill it. You can't spray a plant with Raid ant and roach killer. It's going to die. Well, guess what? It did not die. It is... I'm speechless. I don't even know. I have no words to describe not only my excitement that the plant is back, but my complete and utter confusion over the fact that it did not die from that spray. And I'm not advocating using that, folks. Please understand. This is not a commercial for Raid Ant and Roach Killer. I'm just telling you what we did, and against my will, actually. But because I was going to toss it anyway, I just gave up. I gave in, and I said, fine, do what you want. So he did, and he kept it outside. He put it in the garage at night and brought it out during the day for about 2 weeks. And then one day he brought it in and showed me it had a new cluster of leaves. And that's how they grow, in threes. But this plant didn't have 3 leaves. The little bit that was there was just one lowly single leaf. So that's the story behind this, and I don't even know what to say. All I can say is I'm so grateful that it's back, and it's healthy, and it's doing very well. And this, by the way, is in the southeast corner of my dining room. So that's it. Hard to believe. If those of you are new here, you'll have to go back and see that video, because you won't believe the difference between then and now. And it hasn't been that long, maybe a month and a half or so since we brought it back in. So that'll be it for the day. I'm going to get this loaded up to YouTube so you all can see this, and I will be back. I've got some repotting videos coming up, and I know a lot of you like those. I love those, by the way, and I think I mentioned in my last video, for those of you who have plants that you need to be repotting, I really, really wish that you would do it on video, because I love watching it. I love watching people putting their hands in the soil and packing it around the plant and just handling the plant. There's just something about that that's so peaceful to me. So I hope those of you that are thinking about doing any repotting will do the whole process on camera and let us watch you. That would be great. Otherwise, as always, if you have any comments or suggestions or questions, please feel free to leave them. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. And if you like my videos, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, because it really does help. It helps my channel. And until next time, bye now.